All right, to Wall Street now, where the Dow falls on new data showing Americans felt a bite from tariffs in June. Taking a look at the big board, Dow down 436 points. The headline, inflation ticked 0.3% higher. Consumers paid a little more for some items in June than they did the month before. So let's take a look at the top 500 stocks. This is our interactive heat map brought to you by FinViz in real time. One stock we're watching right now, NVIDIA shares of the company. It climbs today after the CEO said it secured approval from the Trump administration to resume selling advanced AI chips to China. So let's get to CBS News MoneyWatch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. She's live at the New York Stock Exchange today. Hi, Kelly. NVIDIA getting the green light as President Trump talks AI at an energy summit. So what is the talk on the floor about the AI focus?
I think you can see that reflected in the NVIDIA stock price. And in fact, NVIDIA lifted the NASDAQ to a record close. That was the only one of the three major indexes to close in the green today. The others two really taking it on the chin. But you think about everything that the president and other leaders are talking about in Pennsylvania. You see what NVIDIA is going to be allowed to do in order to sell into China. What this tells investors is AI development, it is alive and well. Money is pouring into the space, and the stocks that are going to benefit most from that are seeing a lift. And particularly with NVIDIA, I mean, this is a really big win for them because China is such a big market for them to sell their chips. They had designed the H2O chip specifically to be able to get around the export restrictions to sell into that market in Beijing. The fact that they are going to be able to do that they're not going to have to take all of that investment at a loss. Great day for NVIDIA stockholders. But Jules, as you and I know, chips, AI chips specifically, are often at the heart of trade tensions between the U.S. and China. So this space is something to keep an eye on if there are any changes.
Sure. Okay, Kelly, so I want to circle back to new inflation data out today. President Trump taking the opportunity to double down on his criticism of Fed Chair Jerome Powell. So here is what he had to say today.
I told him he's doing a very bad job. He's way late. That's why I call him too late. Jerome Powell is too late. He's way late. Interest rates should be coming down. We have a very, very successful country. We should have the lowest interest rate anywhere in the world, and we don't. Jerome Powell has done a terrible job, and frankly, I don't think he could do a worse job.
Okay, those comments today. So, Kelly, the president certainly sees the economy one way. Some say the numbers tell a different story. So break down the facts for us.
Well, the president is right. I mean, this is a good economy. You haven't seen anything fall off a cliff. And I do want to put these inflation numbers in context. We are not back at the levels of summer 2022 when we had upwards of 9% inflation. Today, we got a number of 2.7%. That's in comparison to 2.4% in May. So we're moving further away from the Federal Reserve's 2% target. We're moving in the wrong direction, but it wasn't a massive increase. What I will say about this report is this is the first month where you can see the upward price pressure from tariffs. A lot of economists have been wondering, when are we going to see this? When are we going to see this? It is here. And you can see that reflected in items like apparel, appliances, furniture, things that we import from other countries and then sell here, things that would be subject to those import taxes. But the big question over the next 3 to 6 months, especially with those higher tariffs that are set to kick in August, on August 1st that you and I have been talking about, is this trend going to accelerate? So listening to the president's comments, I do think he's going to be disappointed at the end of the month. We are expecting the Federal Reserve to take today's data as well as what's coming and say, we're just going to wait and see. We don't have enough data yet to make any decision on changing interest rates.
All right, live from the New York Stock Exchange, Kelly O'Grady, thank you.